The National Education Commission of 1959 made a number of recommendations for education of children in schools and beyond, and for educationists. And to fulfill those recommendations, it also made certain suggestions in its report and document to help the policymakers, to help the people in education, to help teachers and students achieve those recommendations. When the recommendations were implemented, two things were seen. Number one, it brought about a harmony, a coming together of what the Commission wanted and what was actually happening in education. The second thing that came to light was all people involved and all institutions involved were not following the recommendations in letter and spirit. So different institutions picked up different things, other institutions picked up other items, and so the Commission was not able to achieve its full target. However, what was found was that in line with the teachings of Islam, in lines with the ideology on which Pakistan was created, their report also found certain negativities. So upon a more critical analysis of the recommendations of the report, certain shortcomings were identified in the report, and these are: number one, the Commission ignored the basics on which Pakistan was founded, which is Islamic ideology, and the Islamic objectives of education were missing in line with the teachings of the Quran, in line with the basic philosophy on which Pakistan was created, and so that was seen as a major gap in the Commission's report. Not only should there have been Islamic objectives of education together with other objectives of education, but they should have been in line with the teachings of the Quran, the Hadith, and based on the life of the Prophet. That was missing, because of which Pakistan ideology could not be promulgated on a large scale. The Commission recommended that to make good citizens out of children, after all, what is the purpose of education? The purpose of education is to make good citizens and good scientists at the same time, and good Muslims at the same time, and these were not present in a solid form. Yes, you could make a good scientist based on the objectives recommended, but could you make a good Muslim? Could you make a good human being? Those objectives based on the ideology of Pakistan, which is the Islamic ideology, were missing and not to be found in the report. That was seen as a missing point. Number two, the education system which the Commission recommended was not purely Pakistani. Remember, in 1947, we inherited the British system of education. If we wanted to bring in our own system of education, the Pakistani system of education, then many massive changes should have happened. Neither the 1947 conference nor the 1959 Commission recommended any concrete steps that would show that our education system in its very nature is Pakistani. We were heavily dependent on what we inherited from the British in 1947, and that continued. We continued in our education system as if we were still under the colonial influence of the British, which was not true. Number three, the Commission stressed to set up public schools. Obviously, at the time of partition, schools were not enough. There were lots of children of school-going age, and so the government had to take the step to open up schools. When the government decided to open up schools, education was available only to a select class of society, because even then of the cost factor involved. Because of this cost factor, the lower class people were not able to afford that education, and so it was seen as if the government was promulgating an elite class education, or an education only to a specific class of society. 4. Instead of bringing about any revolutionary change in the administrative structure of schools and institutions, The same structure that was inherited at the time of partition continued. No recommendations were made as to how to improve the administrative structure of schools and institutions after partition and gaining independence.